Hello and very good afternoon. And it is indeed with a pleasure that I'm able to welcome you to this webinar on mathematics and operations research. And by way of introductions, I'm Ahti Salo, Professor of Systems Analysis here at Aalto University School of Science, Department of Mathematics and Systems Analysis. And with me, I have David Radnell. David, you could perhaps say a few words.
Yeah, hello everybody, and welcome to this webinar for the Mathematics and Systems Analysis at Aalto University. Yes, I'm the academic coordinator of the department, so organizing all kind of things. I'm from Australia originally. I've been in Finland about 6 years, and I can give maybe a little bit more information later on. Thank you.
And Lasse Leskela is also shown on this slide. He's the program director and not available just at the moment. But indeed, today's presentation will be covering following aspects. I mean, what is Aalto University as a prospective university for you to study, especially in the area of mathematics and operations research. And at the end of this webinar, we'll have a questions and answers session. And for starters, I would actually wish to point out that where is Aalto, so to speak? So Aalto is not the name of the city, but I just took this picture. So we are very close to Helsinki city center. So Helsinki is the capital of Finland, and Aalto campus is very conveniently located within 10 to 15 minute ride by metro from the city center. And as you can see, there's plenty of water around. So when I come to the claim that it's beautifully located in the midst of sea and nature, that is indeed the case, while still being close to the a major city. And also Finland, before you might consider perhaps Aalto, why Finland, especially for international students. So I just took this summary, why Finland would be a good place, a happy country to live in, to study in, and to create your career. So according to the United Nations World Happiness Report, we've been in the most recent one, the 4th year in a row, Finland has been the happiest one to live in the world. And we believe that as a result, it is also very good for pursuing your studies internationally. And what is Aalto University? So Aalto University is a multidisciplinary community of bold thinkers where science and art meet technology and business. And the rationale for this statement, in a sense, derives from the creation of Aalto University in 2010. So in 2010, we had a merger of 3 leading Finnish universities. So Helsinki University of Technology, established in 1849, was merged with the University of Art and Design Helsinki and Helsinki School of Economics. And these now all belong to Aalto University, and they are the components of the 6 schools which we have. So the School of Arts, Design and Architecture, representing art, design, media and film. The School of Business is here. Also on the Otaniemi campus now, School of Chemical Engineering, School of Electrical Engineering, School of Engineering. So these are also all parts of the former Helsinki University of Technology. And School of Science is the school where we come from. So the departments are listed here, and mathematics and systems analysis is what I've underlined here, is the department which is responsible for offering the master's program in mathematics and systems analysis. And we are very well internationally recognized. So among all the young universities globally, we were ranked recently in the most recent World University ranking. We're the 9th and 37th in the world in terms of being the most international university in the world. Furthermore, very strong in multidisciplinary and collaborative research. And also when we look at sustainability issues, so we are 47th. And this needs to be seen against the backdrop that there are some 20,000 universities in the world at large. So these are very, very fine rankings, which we are proud of. Aalto University has a strong entrepreneurial ecosystem. So these are some of the activities and establishments and instruments by which Slush is one of the major events for attracting venture capital, for promoting spin-off companies. For instance, you may have heard of it. And there's Aalto Executive Education. So it's not only the core schools as such, which we embrace in the Aalto University, but this broader ecosystem. And it is strong in promoting entrepreneurship. So some 70 to 100 companies are founded every year on our campus, and about half of all Finnish startups, which originate from universities, come from Aalto. And we also offer training and education to students who wish to become experienced and to have the knowledge which is needed to promote and build a strong, successful career as entrepreneurs. The campus is nice in the sense that, surely enough, there's ample facilities for studying, but also there are dormitories. So many students would have the chance to live on campus, very close to the sea, as you can see on this diagram. The public transportation is just excellent. The research facilities are cutting edge, including libraries and access to journals and the like. And also sustainability and carbon neutrality are also at the core of our campus strategy. And at Aalto, you do get more than a degree, so it's truly international, meaning that you would be interacting, studying together with other international students. The community which we have here is diverse and very welcoming. The student life is highly active, and the infrastructures overall are strong and excellent. And there's a vibrant startup scene and attractive career opportunities. And also our students benefit from developing these extensive alumni networks. And as I noted already, the rankings are very good indeed. And then we come closer to what is the master's program. So the master's program, which we offer, it's abbreviated as Math OR. OR comes from the letters Operations Research. And in a sense, the timeliness of this program comes from the fact that we are increasingly living in a society where there are all sorts of ways of obtaining data about various kinds of processes and systems. And by leveraging the problem-solving power of mathematics and statistics and techniques such as risk analysis and optimization, it becomes possible to develop really, really appropriate solutions to some of the most complex problems of the world. So, for instance, my area is risk analysis, and I would say that in many countries, COVID has been a severe crisis in a sense, and out of experience, I served on the Finnish science panel for the Prime Minister's office. And that was also one of the areas where these kinds of mathematical models, epidemiological models, have been employed to inform decision-making. And the mission of the master's program is to train experts who have a broad knowledge of mathematical methods and combine this knowledge with strong problem-solving skills, so that the students, when they graduate, can tackle challenging problems in science, industry, and society at large. And looking at the master's program, perhaps in some more detail, we have three majors, and the majors are listed here. There's applied mathematics, which is oriented towards, let's say, somewhat less applied, and then there's systems and operations research. And we presently have more than 120 students from a broad variety of countries. All the courses are being taught in English, and the program is 2 years long. And it is structured as follows. So there are two ways of organizing your studies. You may either choose in the majors for applied mathematics and mathematics. You have the option of choosing a so-called long major in the range between 55 to 65 credits, combining with electives, the courses which you just wish to, out of your curiosity or with the aim of broadening your professional skills you may wish to study. And then there's the master's thesis, which is 30 credits, and these are the European credit transfer system credits. So each credit is typically 27 hours of work. And in the systems and operations research, we have a so-called compact major, which is 40 to 45 credits, and you are encouraged and indeed required to have a minor to complement your methodologically oriented studies. And then you have space for electives, and also the master's thesis would be equally 30 credits. And this is the approximate schedule in which you might wish to pursue your studies in the program. And then actually I would invite David to say a few words about the majors, starting with applied mathematics. So I hand over to you.
Okay, hello. So I guess getting harder and harder to distinguish between, so what's applied mathematics, what's just mathematics. And so to some extent, these things are labels sort of to indicate to, after you finish your degree, what kind of direction you have sort of focused. So the applied mathematics degree is for people who have a definite interest and will end up with a skill set that has statistics, numerical analysis, numerical linear algebra, inverse problems. So some sort of core sort of skills in these areas. And there's a, I can't see it on this screen, but there's a select set of courses that you sort of must take, and of course some flexibility as well. But the applied one, it's not as flexible as just the mathematics major. Yeah. So people know that if you've done the applied one, you have sort of definitely got this skill set. But the people in applied mathematics, they still might prove theorems, but the aim is perhaps different than in the more pure courses. Yeah. So it's a nice blend. And then, for example, we've got, say, people doing things that would traditionally sound pure, number theory, algebra, but they're using this in cryptography and in data security, and they are working very closely with a number of companies in Finland and abroad in security issues. So they're applying what you would traditionally think of as very pure subject, say number theory, but it's solving very real world practical problems, and they're actually collaborating with companies. Yeah. So it's like that. So maybe if you go to the next page, Ahti, we could. Yeah. Yeah. So yeah, this label, the mathematics major, is designed to be very flexible. So Actually, I'll put some links in the chat later where you can see a list of the master's thesis from the previous years. So you'll see some people with a mathematics major have done very pure topics, some have actually done applied topics. So this math major doesn't have many requirements in terms of what subjects you must do. So if you come in and you're not exactly sure, you just take the math major and then you can select quite a broad range. But it's also aimed at maybe the more traditional sort of pure math people who maybe want to focus in the future on a, say, research career in mathematics. So you can get a very sort of core traditional background in analysis, in algebra, in probability theory. So these are the core sort of basis of pure mathematics. And the research areas are, I won't sort of go through all of them, but they have analysis and partial differential equations. There's a big group doing that, and other areas of analysis also. Then sort of in algebra and number theory, there's algebraic geometry. There's also a more applied field, which is algebraic statistics. There's what I mentioned, the people doing algebra, but applying it to sort of cryptography and data security. Then we also have probability theory, and under the heading of sort of statistics and probability theory, there's actually quite an active group in mathematical physics. So they're actually using algebra, probability, and analysis to do things motivated from theoretical physics and quantum field theory. So yeah, quite a broad range of traditional pure mathematics subjects.
And in both of these, so the applied mathematics and mathematics, you have a choice between the long major and the compact one. And as we now move on to systems and operations research major, which is here, we only have the compact one, meaning that you'd be required to have a minor subject as well. And in each of these majors, which we're now covering, so you can look at the courses by visiting this website. And systems and operations research, so what is it, so to speak? And it's about using mathematical models as a means of gaining improved understanding of how complex systems behave, so that we can provide, with the help of these mathematical models, decision support as to how might we wish to be better. So in the US, the biggest professional scientific societies informs the Institute for Operations Research and the Management Sciences. This is oftentimes management science in business schools is the counterpart of operations research at engineering schools. And as a result from this, it then follows that some of the courses which we really cover in this major are those of identifying systems, so using statistical methods to understand. We also need to be able to forecast based on past data and expert judgment as to what might the outcome be if we choose such and such decision options. Simulation is equally important. Optimization, the ability to evaluate different decisions in view of their likely outcomes. And all of these are being employed across numerous areas in industry. And I would say that the key areas also in much of our research, so we are working in the areas manufacturing, supply chains, logistics, defense, energy, environment, and healthcare are some of the areas where we have been developing applications. And the slogan, in a sense, it's the science of better, and also the term analytics or data analytics, but or business analytics is also closely related. So I would say that many job opportunities are now being offered under the umbrella term of analytics, and it essentially refers to many of the OR methods. And surely enough, there are numerous opportunities, both in firms consultancies and in the public sector. And also we are happy to we'll be the host for the European Conference in Operations Research. So this is EURO, the Association of European Societies in Operations Research. And we'll be hosting next July. And I took this picture, not perhaps so much to advertise the conference, but it shows you what the campus is like. So this is the main building, and actually we are in this bachelor center, which you can see here, the tallest building, which is at the very heart of the campus. So this is, you get another nice image of what the campus is like. And then some of the learning goals. So I would say that the students who graduate from our courses will acquire strong problem-solving skills to address some of the most complex and interesting challenges in the world. So I would say that many of our graduates have been working on climate change, which is highly topical. They've contributed to the reports of the IPCC. We teach the mastery of the art of mathematical and scientific thinking, being careful. Logical reasoning is one of the cornerstones here, and learning also about the various kinds of tools which can be leveraged to deploy the power of these mathematical models, so that, and it's not a single tool, but many kinds of tools, so that you can understand what are the most appropriate techniques, and also exposure to real life problems, so that you're able to build sound mathematical models and effective tools, even for problems which have not been encountered previously. So these are some of the ambitious learning goals which we have in this program. We have an extensive network of research collaborators, and they'll be visiting, now that we are finally almost over the COVID pandemic. So we have on campus many more visitors, and we are also hosting many exchange students. So you'll be working with students from other universities, Central Europe, across the world. And then industrial and business thesis. So in Finland, the master's thesis is typically either developed so that the students would be working either full-time or part-time for companies, so that is one option, or then alternatively here for the department. But it is typical that the students would be receiving some compensation for their work. And I also took some recent testimonials from our alumni. And here's Napoleon, and I've just highlighted. So the facilities provided for students are extraordinary. And I would say that one of the advantages of studying at a big university, including there's a business school, and the amount of available options academically, and also in terms of extracurricular activities, it's just like excellent. And Joanne Sims, on the other hand, she notes that the Learning Center is a calm place to study. Sometimes you wish to have that calm. As I've shown, the campus is located by a coastal nature walk, which is beautiful. And also, it's close to the city center. And just in case you wish to enjoy the nightlife, that is also a possibility. So these are honest testimonials by students. Then for career opportunities, there are two main career pathways, and that's perhaps moving on to business or industry placements or public service in the government or municipalities. So that's one. And I would say that many also choose to pursue doctoral studies, which would then gear towards a research career. And here we are part of the doctoral program, which is run by the School of Science. and this is a very, very attractive possibility for those who may be interested in deepening their scientific and academic training, and perhaps seeking to build a career in at research institutes or universities. And the degree which we offer, it's Doctor of Science in Technology, and it opens doors for research and academic positions internationally. So many of our alumni have become professors abroad in the US and Central Europe. And then, so some words about Finland. So I mentioned that it's a comparatively happy, let's say content place, but it's a safe, relaxed, equal and organized society. The world famous education system is here. And I would say that practically everyone, especially in the Helsinki region, does speak English. So you can easily conduct a normal daily life based on your knowledge of English. And also the municipalities nowadays offer their services in English. The livability index is very high. There's a culture which is supportive of innovation, and I would actually point to this website on studying in Finland, providing you more details. Then about the tuition fees for non-EU EEA citizens. So these would have, so meaning outside of the European Union or the European Economic Area. So the tuition fee ranges from 12,000 to 15,000 per academic year, 12,000 for bachelor's degree programs, and 15,000 for master's degree programs. And there is, however, a scholarship scheme, and prospective students who would otherwise be subjected to these tuition fees are eligible to apply for scholarships, and they are merit-based and they will be granted on a competitive basis. And the application period for this master's program starts now at the beginning of this December. Actually, this should be, I trust, starting now 2021. My apologies. So this will be 21 to 22. And now, actually, I would be happy to look at the questions which we have here. And let's see now. So shall we take these in order, so to speak, perhaps? Is it possible to study subject? So in the maths major has courses which are relevant to mathematical physics, but it's not a program in physics as such, I would say. And I would say that there is a possibility to choose in your elective studies courses from the Department of Physics. And I would say that there is no incompatibility, so to speak. And especially the maths major is reasonably flexible, I would say, and I would think David would think similarly. So if it's like in the realm of mathematical physics and supports your ambitions and aspirations, you could include such courses into your master's in maths.
Yeah, maybe if I could jump in quickly.
Yeah.
I'm actually in mathematical physics myself. So yeah, the program anyway is designed for flexible admissions from people who don't necessarily have a mathematics background. So if you're coming from physics, yeah, we're perfectly happy to look at your application. And I think at the bachelor's level, I mean, if you're coming from a traditional physics program, your mathematics is probably a good level for entry anyway. And like you said, if you're missing a couple of courses, that can be filled in. So yeah, certainly, I mean, we're looking also at people with a physics background in the mathematical physics group, for sure.
Yeah. And a second question, can a physics bachelor study the maths master? I would say yes, you can certainly enter this program from a physics bachelor. So, and many of the Finnish students would come to this program from a degree program in engineering, physics, and mathematics, so to speak. So that is a very, very suitable background, and you might wish to highlight in your application as to the motivation. Then is it possible to take the major in the first year and then the elective courses in this? There is a possibility. So when it comes to the details of the Erasmus exchanges, there are flexibilities, but it depends on where. If the idea is that you would wish to go abroad from Aalto elsewhere for an Erasmus exchange, so to speak, and I would say that when it comes to Erasmus exchanges, so the key question then is that to what extent are the courses which are offered by the international university elsewhere, how would they then be incorporated into your studies, towards your degree studies? And I would say that there's usually a prior agreement as to what you would be studying, and the decision that they would be included in your major subject or minor subject based on the decision of the supervising professor. So these are some of the questions. Is it relatively easy or hard to find a partial time job in Finland? So I would say that it is rather easy, I would say, at the moment. So especially in the areas where, and I trust you now mean a partial time, part-time job based on your professional qualifications. But it is, of course, depending on where you come from. So if you come from outside of the EU, so you would need a work permit and the like. So that may be more challenging. But if you do have the residence permit and the work permit, then it is reasonably good. Question. Interested in the compact major program. So is it uniquely set for fully studies, or is it a possibility in partial mode? In a sense, you could study for more than 2 years. I mean, in a sense, but depending on where you come from, and the tuition fees might be applicable in the case of non-EU residents, and so my message here is that you'd be encouraged to study and complete your degree in 2 years, and if this would satisfy or Oscar was posing this question. Would there be further questions as to, or Hanne or Ranna, would you wish to mention about the scholarships or the like?
No, I think this was a very good presentation. Thank you, Ahti, and welcome on my behalf as well to the webinar. I'm glad to see so many people have found this interesting. And my name is Anna Lampiva, and I'm the planning officer for this program. And if you have any further questions, please feel free to ask.
And just to clarify, so the application period would be starting now at the beginning of December, isn't it the case?
Yeah. Yes, 1st of December. Yeah.
Yeah. And any further questions or remarks? We are available for emails and questions even later on, if need be.
And part-time work, maybe I should say, I mean, in our department, we do hire people also as teaching assistants.
Yeah.
So there's also work internally in the university, not just out.
Yeah. Good. But perhaps we then conclude the webinar here, and we would hope to see many of you here in Finland on Aalto campus, perhaps next year. So many thanks indeed.